Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines here. We got Brian Armstrong from Coinbase on a modern Howey test. Tell you what else we got here. We got David Schwartz talking about all the elements, earth, wind, fire, water. You're going to want to know the comparison he's making there. Sounds like David may know something we don't, maybe. Then we're going to talk about this. Mark Yusko talks about the Ripple case and says, when you come at the king, you better not miss. And he's right. But let me tell you what else we got today. Russian President Vladimir Putin says the change of the global currency reserve is underway. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $844 billion market cap for crypto. We're running flat this morning. Bitcoin, 16,800 plus. Ethereum is $1,218 and change. We see the Tether market cap at 66.2 billion. XRP is 34 cents this morning. Good morning, everybody. Right now, if you haven't done it, I topped off my card just the other day. It's the Glint Gold card, baby, and you're buying physically allocated gold. I'm telling you right now, you can pay at the checkout to deposit on your car. You can no crypto, no credits, just get real gold that you own and you can spend, and you can have it on this MasterCard debit card. Click the link. I love it. I've been accumulating for a while now, and I just absolutely love being able to do it. Now, this is addressing proof of work very quickly here from David Schwartz, but we're going to hear from him again before we get out of here today. Boy, are you going to want it. He's responding to Craig Wright here, who says that Bitcoin cannot ever be adopted by institutional investors until the system is able to be recovered under a legal court order. David Schwartz says this is so dumb for so many reasons. Why are institutional investors the target market for peer-to-peer digital cash, he asked, and which jurisdictions should have their court orders respected? Pretty great comments right there. Then he's asked here by JT Marlin here, he says, do you think the network will continue to operate if the cost of mining is higher than the profit? He says yes. That will reduce the number of miners, which will decrease the mining difficulty and thus raise the profitability of mining. It should self-regulate. That's a hell of a thought right there. Then he's asked here by Baba Cug, shout out to him, do you see Bitcoin mining still existing past 2030 as governments push towards a sustainable green future? He says, I don't think proof of work will go away. I think its popularity will drop. But there may be room for at least one proof of work chain for a long time. I hope Bitcoin isn't the token filling that particular niche, though. How about that? That's a hell of a thought. You know, I always think about proof of work and then, regulations coming in and forcing it to be used by renewable energy sources is one way to maintain the proof of work. Or you're going to have to pre-mine everything, put it on the ledger. We know Chris Larson has told us Bitcoin has been on the XRP ledger, at least the capabilities to do so, since 2014. Look right here, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says, what does a modern Howey test look like? Well, he's going to tell us right here. He says right here, here's what the Coinbase CEO proposes. He says, taking the four prongs that exist, was there an investment of money if the crypto asset issuer hasn't sold the asset for money for the purpose of building a project? It's not a security. Is the investment in a common enterprise? For a crypto asset to be a security, it must be controlled and operated by a centralized organization like a company. If a project has become sufficiently decentralized, it's not a security. Is there an expectation of profit? If the primary purpose of the crypto asset is some other form of utility, voting, governance, incentivizing actions of a community, then it is very unlikely to be considered a security. Are the profits to be derived primarily from the efforts of others? If the expectation of profit primarily comes from the participants who are unaffiliated with the issuance of the assets, then the project is sufficiently decentralized and would not be considered a security. He then pointed out that all four of these prongs need to be satisfied for the asset to be considered a security. And if you have just a few of them, it's not enough. Here's what I could say. Look, I think what we're doing with the SEC versus Ripple case is going to be what we need to see. And I'm reminding you right now what Stuart Alderoty's first initial response was when they got sued. This is going all the way back to December 21st, 2020. He said in 2015, the U.S. government concluded XRP was a virtual currency. Last I checked, the SEC is still a part of the U.S. government. Here's the plus side. The industry will finally get the clarity it deserves. Goodbye, Howey test. Hello, Ripple test. Now, I remind all of you, the Howey test went to the Supreme Court to become the Howey test. Now, I'm not suggesting that it has to do that, but I certainly think it's at play. Now, let me throw one other thing out here for clarity. It doesn't necessarily mean if it were to go that distance that the price would stay 30 cents for XRP either. There are many different plausible scenarios how this could go. We could be finding out an hour from now that the case settles. We shouldn't be married to one particular outcome or another. I think, if anything, what we do on this channel is we entertain the possible outcomes. That's what we try to do, right? And I think that's what I'm reminding everybody to do here. You know, and if it were to go the distance to appellate court or what have you, don't rule out the fact that the SEC could lose the case at this level. And they would be the ones in appeal. And Ripple and XRP would be free to do whatever it wants to do, however it wants to do it in the United States and beyond, while things continue in an appeal process and so on and so forth. That could certainly be one of the outcomes. So when I think of the idea of the possibility existing of the case going further down the road, it doesn't spell disaster for me. Because you're going to see some evidence here today in this video in just a moment that I believe proves to me that there is a very legitimate reason why Ripple and XRP are being sued and not some other meme coin, but some real project, a real company that has real shares, and then a real digital asset that has a real use case. That's Ripple and XRP. That's why they're in this lawsuit. And they certainly used it as a weapon for the people that I believe in public office had inside knowledge about the fact that this was the course that Ripple had to go, because they're the ones that had the relationship with the Federal Reserve back in the day, right? But it doesn't mean they get a free pass. If anything, this court case shows that you don't get a free pass. They paid over $100 million in legal fees to make this argument. You don't spend $100 million on a defense so you can sell a meme coin. You spend $100 million because you know damn well there's real use case for the world for that digital asset, which may even become a stable coin. By the way, can Gary Gensler resign already? Yeah, that's where I'm at too. The SEC has finally admitted that FTX customer assets were actually used to bail out BlockFi. BlockFi paid money using customer assets they got money from FTX to give as a fine to the SEC. The SEC literally, by the chain of delivery of that money, has received fine money from BlockFi that originated from FTX customers' pockets. You can't make it up. You can't make this up either. Russia is to legalize crypto for international trade. Now, let me give it to you a little more clear. This is Russia's President, Vladimir Putin. He is about to tell you that the global reserve currency change is underway. Don't believe it. It's still true. When I think about it and you listen to this, I think the SEC versus Ripple case and XRP is absolutely poignant and on time, because the United States is going to need something with a real use case in this new digital revolution we're moving into And I believe XRP and the XRP Ledger are going to play a great role in doing just that. Take a listen.
В условиях инфляционной бури у многих развивающихся стран возникает резонный вопрос. А зачем обменивать товары на доллары и евро, которые на глазах теряют в весе? Напрашивается вывод. На смену экономики мнимых сущностей неизбежно приходит экономика реальных ценностей и активов. По данным МВФ, сейчас в глобальных валютных резервах находится 7,1 триллиона долларов и 2,5 триллиона евро. И эти деньги обесцениваются темпом около 8% в год. Но кроме того, в любой момент они могут быть еще и конфискованы, украдены, если США что-то не понравится в политике тех или иных государств. Но это, по-моему, стало абсолютно реальным для очень многих стран, которые хранят свои золотовалютные резервы в этих валютах. По оценке экспертов, уже в ближайшие годы это...
According to the objective expert analysis, in the coming years, a conversion process of global reserves will get underway.
Чисто объективный анализ. Уже в ближайшие годы будет запущен процесс конвертации глобальных резервов. Из теряющих свою стоимость валют
Reserves will be converted from weakening currencies into tangible resources like food, energy commodities, and other raw materials. This is moving from a debt-based system to an asset-backed system, is what he's describing here. And something like the decentralized exchange, the XRP Ledger, could absolutely serve as that role in keeping a unit of account of all of these things for collateralization. Now, couldn't it?
Настоящие ресурсы, такие как продовольствие, энергоносители и другое сырье. Очевидно, что этот процесс еще...
Clearly, this process will further fuel global dollar inflation. Everything we know, Saudi Arabia agreeing to use the Chinese yuan through the Shanghai Exchange for oil in the first time, ditching the US dollar in that particular path of transaction. Here we see the global reserves of the world are undergoing a shift. I don't know about you, but this is extremely real. And as Mark Yusko says right here, take a listen.
Then they fight you stage. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. And
just reminder here, that is the article about the former Ripple advisor, Michael S. Barr, will supervise the Federal Reserve. That is who is in that seat as the vice president of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve to oversee stablecoin legislation, which I know we've talked about the idea that XRP could fall into a category as well as XLM as a stablecoin designation according to the World Bank and many other entities.
if you come at the king, you better not miss. And I think that's a little bit what's happened with XRP here is.
And listen, I absolutely agree. But I also believe that the king needs some help right now because the world is working against it and the US dollar. This is a nice time to play this right here. Shout out to Not Financial Advice. And it is not financial advice. But when you think about what's going on around the world in the geopolitical role, take a listen to this and see if it sounds a little like something that's been working to build the partnerships and the market infrastructure to serve in such a moment like we're fastly approaching.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan?
Sounds like a much bigger plan to me, ladies and gentlemen, and so does this. This is David Schwartz right here, who put this out yesterday evening. Said all the elements are now taken. Google has Earth, Apple has air, Amazon has fire, Ripple has water. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, if you haven't done it, check out iTrust Capital. The only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto, and you could do it on iTrust Capital. Guess what else you could do? Staking, 9.5% APY. Roll over your 401k, 403b, 457, and more. Click the link underneath. Check out my sponsor. That's going to do it for me. Have a great day with family and friends. I'll catch all of you on the next one.